Welcome to International Student Brief. The content of the briefing includes: families remember their loved ones on first ever hostage and wrongful detainee day. UCL bans lecturer from China course to protect its commercial interests. Pencils down, SATs are going all digital, and students have mixed reviews of the new format. New $80 million student housing tower approved for Perth CBD. China's iFlyTech looks abroad, mini dramas go viral. Families remember their loved ones on first ever hostage and wrongful detainee day. CNN. Senior U.S. officials, Americans who had returned from detention abroad and loved ones of those who have yet to come home gathered in front of the U.S. State Department as a new flag was raised ahead of the nation's first ever hostage and wrongful detainee day. "This is a solemn day," Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell said Friday as he stood before the flag, bearing the words, "Bring them home," and dozens of tally marks. "Today's ceremony is a solemn recognition of those who have returned home, those who regrettably never will, and those still being held captive abroad," he said, adding that it was an opportunity to recommit ourselves, to truly recommit ourselves, to stand united against the scourge of hostage diplomacy, and to reaffirm the principles of peace, justice, and human dignity for all. UCL bans lecturer from China course to protect its commercial interests. Telegraph. University College London, UCL, has come under fire after banning an academic from teaching a course on China, citing the need to protect the university's commercial interests. Associate Professor Michelle Shipworth was accused of being anti-Chinese after she caught two students from China cheating and subsequently expelled them. Shipworth, as head of department, stated that UCL's courses needed to retain a good reputation amongst future Chinese applicants. UCL has the highest number of Chinese students in the UK, with over 10,000 students from China studying there. Shipworth found herself under investigation after a seminar examining data from the Global Slavery Index 2014, which claimed that China had the second highest prevalence of modern slavery in the world. She asked students to discuss the question, "Why are there so many slaves in China?" to build their data assessment skills and to highlight problems with the survey. Shipworth was accused of being biased against students from China and using a provocative in-class exercise that focused only on China. Shipworth was subsequently told that another academic would be taking over the research module she had taught for the past decade. Shipworth has accused UCL of conceding to the censorship demands of some Chinese students and has warned that universities' dependence on overseas student funding threatens to undermine the value of an academic degree. The Free Speech Union has written to UCL's provost demanding that all restrictions on Shipworth be lifted. Shipworth's case highlights ongoing concerns about academic freedom and the influence of Chinese students and their government on UK universities. Pencils down, SATs are going all digital, and students have mixed reviews of the new format. The Toronto Star. The SAT, a college admissions test taken by millions of US students every year, was changed to a digital version this year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The test has been taken on paper for almost a century, but with the move to digital, test administrators, the College Board, hope to win over schools and critics. Many colleges have dropped test requirements, so the digital test is seen by some as a way to encourage students to take it. However, some students believe the digital test gives those who take it an advantage, as many colleges are test optional. The SAT also unlocks scholarships, but scoring well requires intense test prep, which many low-income Americans don't have access to. The digital test is an hour shorter but set up and scored the same way, with a built-in advanced calculator and free full-length practice exams. It also adapts to students' performance, with questions becoming slightly easier or harder as they go. However, critics say the SAT and the alternative ACT are biased towards better-resourced, high-income students. New $80 million student housing tower approved for Perth CBD. The Sydney Morning Herald. An $80 million student accommodation hub has been approved in the Perth CBD, providing housing for 835 people. The new 33-story development along Wellington Street will be ready for students by 2026. The accommodation will be operated by Unilodge, which currently owns all of Curtin University's on-campus accommodation. The company said that the land was currently underused. The development has been welcomed by Study Perth, the University of Western Australia, and the Student Accommodation Council. However, some residents in a nearby apartment building have complained that the development will invade their privacy and block their views. China's iFlyTech looks abroad, mini dramas go viral. Nikkei Asia. Chinese AI company iFlyTech is aiming to expand its presence in Europe and other regions outside of China, despite being blacklisted by the US. The company has developed an application called Detainee, which provides real-time speech-to-text transcriptions. iFlyTech plans to bring other AI-powered solutions overseas, such as real-time voice translations and voice-activated control systems for smart homes. The company has servers overseas and has specified that its data is stored on Amazon Web Services. iFlyTech has been dealing with U.S. export controls since 2019 but has managed to build its own large language model, Spark, with the support of Huawei. Despite this, the impact of U.S. sanctions has caused the company's net profit to decrease in recent years. However, iFlyTech is determined to compete in the international market and is working to expand its global presence, leading UNIS overseas student numbers up since migration overhaul. The Sydney Morning Herald. Australia's Home Affairs Minister, Claire O'Neill, has questioned whether prestigious universities in the country support the Labour Party's crackdown on international students amid growing tensions over migration reforms. Data from the government shows that international student numbers have increased at Group of 8 universities since the Labour Party vowed to stop fraudulent practices in the overseas education sector. However, Group of 8 CEO Vicky Thompson suggested that the figures may have been slightly inflated by other factors. The government has announced measures including stricter English language testing and financial requirements to boost the quality of students and stop education from being used as a backdoor for low-paid work. Why U.S. colleges are reviving standardized tests. Bloomberg. Several Ivy League schools, including Yale University, Dartmouth College, and Brown University, have recently reversed their decision to make standardized tests optional for admissions. This comes as the College Board, the organization that administers the SAT, is making significant changes to the exam, including transitioning to a digital format and reducing the duration. The ACT is also expanding computer-based testing sites. In recent years, many colleges and universities have reduced the importance of standardized test scores in admissions decisions, and some schools have even stopped requiring them altogether. The Common Application reported that only 5% of member schools requested scores in the 2023 to 2024 season, compared to 55% in 2019. However, some schools, including Yale and others, have cited studies showing that standardized tests provide important context for evaluating student performance and can be beneficial in recruiting diverse and low-income students. Critics of standardized testing argue that the exams perpetuate disparities between white and non-white students and favor wealthier students who can afford expensive test preparation programs. Vote, the Augusta Chronicle Student of the Week Readers Poll. Yahoo! The Augusta Chronicle is hosting an online poll to determine the Augusta Area Student of the Week. Readers are invited to nominate their choices for the poll, with nominations open to high school pupils from Georgia and South Carolina schools. The poll will feature students who have recently excelled academically in the Augusta area. Readers can submit nominations by emailing studentoftheweek@augustachronicle.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite observer from the 6 Degrees World, Dr. Six. Today, I bring you a mix of news stories that range from solemn to controversial, and even a bit of fun. So, let's dive in. First, we had the solemn moment of the first ever hostage and wrongful detainee day in the United States. Families gathered to remember their loved ones who have been detained abroad or never made it home. It was a day to reaffirm the principles of peace, justice, and human dignity for all. A powerful reminder of the challenges faced by those affected by hostage diplomacy. Next, we have a controversial story from the University College London. An academic was banned from teaching a course on China to protect the university's commercial interests. This decision sparked a debate about academic freedom and the influence of Chinese students and their government on UK universities. It's a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge should never be compromised by external pressures. Shifting gears, we move on to the digital revolution in education. The SAT, a college admissions test, has gone digital due to the COVID-19 pandemic. While some see it as a way to encourage more students to take the test, others argue that it gives an advantage to those who can afford test preparation programs. It's a reminder that the education system should strive for fairness and accessibility for all. In Australia, an $80 million student housing tower has been approved in Perth CBD. This is great news for the 835 people who will have access to affordable student accommodation. However, some nearby residents are not too thrilled about the potential invasion of their privacy and blocked views. It seems like progress comes with a price. Now, let's talk about China's iFlyTech, a company that is determined to expand its presence abroad despite being blacklisted by the US. They've developed an application that provides real-time speech-to-text transcriptions and have other AI-powered solutions in the works. It's a bold move, considering the challenges they face, but they're determined to compete in the international market. Shifting back to Australia, we have a political debate brewing over international students. The Labour Party has cracked down on fraudulent practices in the overseas education sector, but the numbers show that international student numbers have increased at prestigious universities. It's a reminder that sometimes policies have unintended consequences, and it's important to evaluate their impact. Lastly, we have a fun little story from Augusta, where the Augusta Chronicle is hosting a poll to determine the Augusta Area Student of the Week. It's a chance to celebrate academic excellence and highlight the achievements of high school students. So, if you're in the area, don't forget to nominate your favorite student. That wraps up today's news roundup. It's been a roller coaster of serious discussions, controversial decisions, and a sprinkle of fun. But enough from me, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on these stories? Do you have any questions or opinions? Share them in the comments below, and let's start a lively discussion. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the 6 Degrees world. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.